I looked at all the stats on that tournament and your season altogether. We talked about Lee Lampley from Boylan being one of the best players to come out of this area. I think Robert Eppinger could be right on that list. When I do my homework on him, that kid could play.
Robert was so good. And I heard Gordy with you guys last week or 2 weeks ago talking about the Rob touch rule on offense, and certainly we had we kind of ran an open system where we ran a motion system, and we charted two things: how many touches Rob got, and what our percentage of or our points per possession were when he touched it versus what it was when he didn't touch it. And we charted something we called lane touches, and every time the ball went in the lane on a possession, after that you could shoot it. Anybody could shoot it, and those kids really figured that out and bought into that and did a phenomenal job with it. Rob's a kid who he could handle the ball at 6'7". He was probably 260 back then. He was, I've seen him recently. He looks great. He's lost weight. He's in great shape. He's a kid still had a little bit of baby fat on him as a junior, and was
me too, Mike.
As an athlete. Yeah, I heard that about you, Dave.
Do you think this team kind of stands? Do you think this team could have competed with some of those other great teams that people seem to talk about more?
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, I'd love to get them all back in their primes and their high school A days and throw together a tournament if that were ever possible. And
right.
That's what makes sports so great is in your mind you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they could play with any of those teams. I really do. And you compare them to Auburn's recent success. Obviously, no matter which team you match up, you look at certain guys and think, man, they're going to be dominant no matter who they're playing. Like a Fred VanVleet.
Right.
Obviously, his talent is phenomenal. We would have a tough time matching up with him. I just wonder how some of those other teams would match up with us in the post, and our guards being very capable of playing with a Fred VanVleet. I'm not saying they're as talented or anything like
right.
that, but could hold their own against him, and I don't think that would be an overwhelming matchup for some of those guys. And then I just kind of wonder, how they guard the post in those situations.
We had a lot of talent. Eppinger was our best player by far. I think the one thing that I did that year to really contribute as an assistant was we came up with the Rob touch rule. Mm-hmm. And what that meant was every trip down the floor, Rob's got to touch it. He doesn't have to shoot it, but he's got to touch it, and that would free up everyone else. We had Fisher and Pickens, a great speed and shooting at the guards. And then we had the big kid, Pat Nelson, inside, who ended up going up to Green Bay and playing. And when you've got 6'10", 6'8", and then we had a slew of 6'6", 6'7", it was a very special group, very talented group. So the talent that squad had is better than most of the teams that have gone down lately. I think that we had just so much from top to bottom. Our guards could play with anyone, and almost, boy, it's hard to match up with our front line. I know Guilford, that Jefferson team can match up with any of them.